everyone. So as I said, today I'm talking about my testimony. I got a question asked how I came to believe in Christianity and Jesus Christ himself. So stay tuned if you want to hear more about my experience coming to know Jesus. Just some background, my family is I grew up Catholic and we believed in God, but we did not have a relationship with Jesus. We would go to church a couple times a year on special occasions, and it's just that relationship with Jesus, reading the Bible was just not there. Our ideas were like, as long as you're a good person, believe in God, you're good, my family, my parents are divorced, so I grew up in a family that was found comfort in everything but each other. I dealt with kind of the inconsistency and pain I felt from the dysfunction in my family. For me, it was being very busy, especially in high school. I was in various sports, AP classes, different things like that. So being in high school, junior, hadn't had a boyfriend, and decided that I wanted to have a boyfriend, right? So I was open to dating in high school. Oh my gosh. Looking back now, I'm like, teenage boys, what was I thinking? I was like, yes, I'm ready to date, whatever. But guys were like approaching me or talking to me, and I realized that so many of these dudes were like perverts, I'm like, what the heck is going on, And I'm just like, dude, like, you're weird, like, you need to back off, So I was like, why can't I find just like a nice guy, I remember through a friend, we went to like Knott's Berry Farm, and I met his cousin, and he was cute, and he stood out to me simply because he said he loved God. In our conversation that came up, and he was telling me how he was a worship leader in his church. I didn't really have a concept of what that meant, but our relationship unraveled, and we were, mind you, in high school, so we were also long distance and could not see each other as often as we wanted. That affected us, and we decided to go on break. During that break, I was feeling like my world was crumbling down. Me and my boyfriend at the time took a break. My family was still very much struggling. I felt very discouraged about where they were at, and emotionally I was just not in a good place. I was starting to affect me in other areas of my life. School, my grades went down, sports, I wasn't feeling as confident or as motivated. I was just feeling discouragement in so many ways. And at that moment, I just remembered like some of the few phrases that he shared with me. And even though we didn't really talk about God, I remembered that. And I prayed, and I told God, you know what, I'm going to go on a journey, and I want to know who you really are. Are you this God or that God? Who are you? Reveal yourself to me, and if you do, I will follow you. And then I started researching. I started reading the Quran. I started reading on Hinduism, just major religions, and looking at their holy texts, and looking at their doctrines, what their message of salvation was, what they understood as having a relationship with God. And I started noticing all these differences between religions and their beliefs, and Christianity just made so much sense logically, like looking at the Bible and how accurate it is historically throughout time, how much it's influenced people and transformed lives. Nothing compared to the Bible. Really nothing compared. Nothing still does, right? People say religions are the same, but from my own research and just reading, they're not the same. And some of them may seem like very slight differences, but they make a major impact in the way people relate to God and others. And I found that Christianity and the gospel was the only one that truly makes sense. Needed like one more push. I didn't know what a commitment to Jesus or how to follow him exactly, but I knew that overall him as a person and as God was already standing out to me, and just the Bible itself. So that being said, I was out being a teenager. I went out to a pool party, and mind you, it was Easter. I was not dressed like I was ready for church, but I really needed to use a restroom, and the only thing that was open was a church. And I'm like, well, I gotta go, wearing shorts and spaghetti strap, but here I go, Deacon was very kind, very loving, and just I went to use the restroom, and he just was like, hey, we have 10 more minutes, why don't you stay on home? And I'm like, you know what, sure. Like, his kindness just gave me a peace. I decided to stay. As I walked in, the preacher was just starting to find the gospel. He asked, is there anyone here that would like to follow Jesus? He said something along the lines of like, here he is, the one and true God. And at that moment, I just felt like something in my mind just clicked, and I felt like that was God directly speaking to me and saying like, Val, you've been reading about me. Now here I am, and I'm telling you it's me. Now come and follow me. My mind, and I was like, okay, Jesus, I'm ready. I believe in you, and I'm gonna follow you. So I went up to the altar and accepted Jesus that day. Afterwards, they just invited me for a follow-up meeting to like a Bible study group. I didn't think they thought I was gonna go, but I did, and that became my church for the next 8 years of my life. And that's where God grew me, formed me, taught me the power of prayer and miracles and just community. And I came to understand the word and the things that were still very confusing for me. Really, I could wrestle with God and talk about it with people because I came to know Jesus. I came to know him and build a relationship with him. Like, I experienced his love, and as I learned how to pray, I realized like I could hear him and talk to him every single day, and that he loves me, right? And he's my best friend to this day, right? So nothing could take away from the intimacy that I experienced every day with Jesus. No matter how confused I was or how hard a certain text was for me, I was like, this is worth it, because really, Jesus, to me, logically and emotionally and spiritually, in every way, you make sense to me. Yeah, that's how I came to know Jesus Christ. And if you want to hear more about my testimony or have questions, let me know, y'all. I would love to hear about your thoughts, how this encouraged you, your testimony. I just want to also finish by saying I encourage y'all that remember that kindness makes a big difference. You might not think that you're making an impact around the people that you know. A person of character makes a difference to someone that is not used to being around people that are just moral and kind and loving. So, continue loving the people around you. Besos and love.